Annual public forum for the Public Safety Citizens Advisory Board. We will start tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We will begin with each of the members of the board introducing themselves.
Hello, my name is Amaya Krigler.
Hello, my name is Haley Prinz.
Hi, my name is Mike Kruger.
Carmen Booker.
Good evening. Matt Calhoun.
Roy Boyd.
Thank you, everybody. And we will turn it over to Police Chief Bob Munns.
Well, thank you. And tonight's annual public forum, the topic tonight is the Community Services Bureau, the Youth Division, and then how that is different from the Blue Springs School District Police Department, and then the services that both of those two entities provide to the community. So I'm excited tonight, and I thank you all for coming. I want to make special note that we have two special guests here tonight, Council Members Culpepper and Council Member Kaler. Thank you for coming. And then Chief Russell, who retired from the department a couple years ago and now runs the school district department, is here tonight. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to turn it over to Captain Rapp. Captain Don Rapp is the captain over the Community Services Bureau. Part of that bureau is the Youth Services, what you might call the Youth Services Division, which holds our outreach programs and our youth services and some of our new program that replaced DARE, and they're going to talk about that. So I'm going to turn it over to Captain Rapp and let him introduce the members of his bureau that are here tonight.
Well, thank you, Chief. Good evening. The Chief always takes away my speech I want to talk about because it messes everything up. But Zach Cobb is the supervisor over communications. That is part of the Community Services Bureau. Tracy Benson, Teddy Meyer, and Carrie Welch is also with the youth side. It's not only communications and youth. I also have records unit. I also have Community Services Bureau prevention. So it is the largest amount of civilian employees that we have in my bureau. You've already mentioned all the things that she's going to be talking about tonight, so I won't keep you guys any longer. Tracy and Teddy.
Well, while they're moving to the podium, I was so anxious to steal his thunder. He did a good job. I forgot to mention that we're Facebook Live tonight. So if the board has any questions during their presentation, feel free to just ask them. And then at the end of the presentation, if the members of the audience have any questions, come to the podium in the middle. Or if there are any questions from our Facebook Live audience, I know there's probably a lot out there watching right now. Feel free to send those in, and we'll collect those after the presentation. Sergeant Benson, it's all yours.
Does this work? Hello, I'm Sergeant Tracy Benson. As Captain Rapp stated, I am the sergeant over the youth division, and this is Officer Teddy Myers. He's an impact officer, and this is Carrie Welch. She's she's a licensed professional counselor. Okay, so I don't have a clicker, so these are going to be. So these are the programs that is under the youth division. That's the impact program, school resource officers, the CIT program, which includes the mental health co-responders, the crisis counselor, diversion program. That is what Carrie is. Girls on Fire, Radman self-defense class, and I'm over the chaplains as well. So CIT stands for Crisis Intervention Team. It consists of 2 CIT coordinators. I am one of them, and Officer Greg Rasheard is one of them. He's not here tonight. And 2 mental health co-responders and 1 CBHL, which is a community behavioral health liaison. But all of the mental health co-responder and the CBHL is employed by Comprehensive Mental Health Bureau, and they are actually housed in our police department here. And the CIT program helps the mentally ill citizens, the citizens with substance abuse, and the youth with behavioral problems due to mental illness. Lost my train of thought. All right, go ahead. Okay, so Carrie, any questions about the CIT program?
No.
Okay, So the co-responders go out on calls with the officers on the CIT calls to help the mentally ill citizens to get the resources they need to get them help. Okay? Any questions about any of that? Okay. A little stats on that actually. Last year, January to June, we had 146 CIT calls. From February to mid-September this year, 445. So we're averaging 70 to 80 calls a month, CIT calls a month. Okay? So now we'll continue. Now we're going to move on to the crisis counselor in the diversion program, which is Carrie, the licensed professional counselor. Our diversion program consists of 6 decision-making classes over the course of 12 weeks, and they're taught by Comprehensive Mental Health Rural. It also consists of 8 hours of community service. As a matter of fact, we got community service coming up Thursday. Our diversion program is recognized by Jackson County Family Court. It's for first-time offenders and misdemeanor charges. High-risk repeat offenders and juveniles who do not complete the diversion program go through the Jackson County Family Court. Their cases are sent through the Jackson County Family Court. An intake assessment is scheduled. Is actually Tammy schedules them. Carrie brings in the juveniles and their family, and she does a session with them. She gets to know them, the family and the juvenile. And if there's anything that they need as far as resources or mental health resources, she refers them to mental health resources. And then she gets the classes set up and the community service set up for them. Okay? Any questions about our diversion program?
Back to the CIT program. Do you respond or somebody from your unit respond any time of the day or night?
You mean officers?
Yes.
No, we do not have a specific CIT unit where officers are only CIT, that they only respond to CIT calls. We do not have that. So what happens is the co-responders go out. They have a co-responder car that we have for them, and they also do. I've had them do a combination of ride-alongs and the co-responder car. So they can respond in the co-responder car, or they can, if they're doing a ride-along that night, the officer will take them to the CIT call. Does that make sense?
Can I add something real quick? So Tracy and I were talking the other day. We have about 70, are we at 70%? Or I keep forgetting the number. So 70%, maybe 60% of our officers are CIT trained. So they have the ability to go out and handle those calls. So essentially your question, we could have a CIT officer at a crisis 24/7. However, Sergeant Benson and Officer Bashir specialize in that and kind of coordinate our efforts with our community health liaison, CBHL, and our co-responders. The co-responders are provided by Grant, and they work primarily daytime and into the early evening, but they could be available for call out. Does that help clarify that?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so any questions about the diversion program?
I have a question. Is Youth Court involved in the diversion programs here in Blue Springs?
It is not. Youth Court is a separate entity, and we are our own thing as far as a diversion program. Any other questions about that? Do you want to add anything here? Okay. All right. Okay, so next is school resource officers. I have, on top of having Officer Myers and Officer Bashir's, I have 2 school resource officers, 1 in each high school, and Officer John Mitchell is at Blue Springs South High School. Officer Ralph Covington is at Blue Springs High School. We have a contract with School District Police that we are to have a police officer in each high school. Officer Mitchell and Officer Covington switch off with the school district police officers when taking reports, but the school district police, their jurisdiction is in the schools and on school property only. And Chief Russell will explain that a little further in his slides or in his presentation. So Officer Mitchell and Officer Cumming can take reports involving kids, I say kids, but kids that are 18 years and older or any felonies, because the school district police can't investigate the felonies. Okay. So for an example, the misdemeanor charges that we take, the vapes or fighting, they go through our diversion program. That's a couple examples. Any questions about any of that? Okay. So next is impact. Officer Gregory Shears is an impact officer. Officer Teddy Myers is an impact officer. Go ahead. So if you haven't heard, well, this is Copper, this is our mascot. And if you haven't heard yet, Impact was developed by Lee Summit Police Department. And on the left there is the 4 Lee Summit police officers that developed the program. And on the 3 on the right are myself, Officer Shears, and Officer Myers. Of course, you know it replaced DARE. And DARE has not been updated since 2020. I'm not going to sit here and badmouth DARE or anything like that, but that is one of the issues that we were having. And so, like I said, it was developed by Lee Summit Police Department. They've been teaching it for about a couple years. And I've got to give credit where credit's due. They did an amazing job developing this program. And they did an amazing job for allowing us to partner with them to teach the program. It's more up to date and it's a more interactive program. It's taught in the 5th grade across Blue Springs Elementary and in our private schools. Approximately yearly, school year, 1,200 students that we teach. So the mission statement is, the Blue Springs Police Department Impact Program exists to enrich students' lives by teaching, modeling, and encouraging the core values of integrity, responsibility, and respect, while fostering relationships with students, teachers, and parents to prevent drug abuse and risky behaviors. The core values are integrity, responsibility, and respect. So there's 10 lessons. They're 50 minutes each. Lesson 1 is officer and program introduction. Lesson 2 is core values. Lesson 3 is emotions. Lesson 4 is problem solving. Lesson 5 is alcohol. Lesson 6 is nicotine and vaping. Lesson 7 is marijuana and vaping. Lesson 8 is peer pressure. Lesson 9, impact review. Lesson 10, impact statements. Now, impact does not get into the hard drugs like heroin, fentanyl, or cocaine or meth or anything like that. Impact focuses, because it's for 5th grade, it focuses on marijuana, vaping, alcohol, nicotine, because that, unfortunately, they are probably exposed to that, unfortunately, some in their homes, and they will be exposed to that in middle school with kids bringing vapes to school, THC vapes, and peer pressure and things like that. And that also you can tell is it's not all about drugs either. We teach about emotions, the upstairs and the downstairs brain, how the brain is fully developed at 25 years old, isn't developed until they're 25 years old. Core values, we talk about being a good person, and we talk about peer pressure. There's problem solving model. What Lee Summit did is their theme was police. They kept it police related, a police theme. As you can tell, the police dog. And then there's a SWAT problem solving model. They use BOLOs in their teaching, which is be on the lookout. So things like that. Any questions about any of those? So there are 4 impact strategies taught on how to get out of risky situations and how to resist bad peer pressure. The one is just say no, turn and burn, code word, and blame game. And then they're encouraged to come up with their own. Do you have any questions about those? And then the SWOT problem solving model, state the problem, what are my choices, act with integrity, and think about the outcome. What happens is Officer Shears and Officer Myers, there's a lot of scenarios. Like I said, impact is interactive, and there's a lot of scenarios that the kids get to get up and act out. And so they get to practice They get to practice the impact strategies. So it's easier for them to use these if they're faced with the peer pressure. The SWOT problem solving model, they give them a problem and they have to work through it using the SWOT problem solving model. I already talked about the alcohol, nicotine, marijuana. So another thing we teach the kids is we inform the students that these companies they target the youth by making it medicine, making it normal, and making it for youth. Now, if you think about it, just a couple examples. I'm gonna talk about nicotine tobacco companies. Think of the cartoons. Joe Camel, he's cool, he's a cartoon. And then if you think about the marijuana dispensaries, what are their advertisements like? Colorful cartoons. So they are gearing it towards the youth. They are targeting the youth. Okay, any questions about any of that? We basically teach the kids, hey, be on the lookout. They are targeting you. And they get it. They'll look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's for kids. That looks like it's for kids. So, any questions about that? We moved from big formal graduations to class parties, and there's snacks, a bingo game, and a photo booth. And they get an impact shirt.
No, it's hot.
So this is Lee Summit's. As you can see, their patch is in the middle. Ours is getting made right now. Our patch will be in the middle. So that's the impact shirts they get. And then in their little graduation bags, they get a mood-changing impact pencil, an impact bracelet, a mood-changing pencil, an impact bracelet, and a mini copper. So copper, I'll let y'all see this. Copper is personalized. He's got Blue Springs Police Department on there. Then on top of that, it's got the impact strategies on the tag. So what Lee Summit found was tangible items, kids will remember things. And so that's why they put the impact strategy on the copper dot. And I went to a couple of Lee Summit's graduation parties, and the kids go wild when they get them. They go wild. And then on top of that, they get an impact card. It's a little card. It's got our impact logo on the front. And on the back, it's got the impact strategies again. And it's got a signature, little signature part where they sign it. It is for them to go to McDonald's here in Blue Springs and get one free small McDonald's drink, one a day, free for life. So yes, the owners of McDonald's here in Blue Springs came through and they offered that. They agreed to that, and so they get that, and of course they go wild when they get that. So, spoiler alert, I don't know if anybody's on Facebook watching. Like the kids aren't.
I hope a whole bunch.
So any questions about any of that?
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So, how far along are you with this school year?
Okay, so what lesson are we in?
I just started lesson 8.
So we're about 8 weeks in.
A couple of my
Great.
schools are a little bit behind, so they're on 7. But
Okay. And how is it going?
it's been a blast. I've been having so much fun with these kids. They've been so receptive and just wanting to learn more, and just making that connection with them it's been the highlight of my day. It really has. Just
Great.
they light up when they see me, and I light up when I see them. It's been a blast.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah,
you.
so I forgot to mention, they don't just show up to teach classes.
No.
They go to the school in the mornings and they'll greet the kids when they're coming in. They'll hang out in the hallways with the kids. Because some kids, they change classes or maybe they're moving through the hallways to go to different classes. And they go to lunch with the kids. They go to recess with the kids. And so,
I'm learning how to play Gaga ball, which I'm not good at, but it's okay.
yes. And so at Fall Fun Fest and National Night Out, the kids were coming up to them and they're loving the Impact program. And even the Lee Summit kids, we had someone come up to us at Fall Fun Fest and they're loving Impact, and we're not even their Impact officers. So,
As someone who graduated from the DARE program, and we did the big formal graduation that got combined with our 5th grade graduation, and the mayor was there, why did you guys decide to change? Oh, I'm sorry. Why did you guys decide to change from the big formal graduation to the class parties?
Okay, so a couple reasons. For one, Lease Summit, that's their program, and the Chiefs made a deal to not change the program at all. That was the deal. So two, some of the schools actually don't care much for the big graduations. So we're going to make it a class party, but William Yates, right? They're going to do all the 5th grade as a graduation party together, because there's like, how many 5th grades you have in William Yates? Four or five?
Four classes.
Four classes. So they're going to combine them all for one big one.
Yep.
Okay.
But it's just going to be a party. It's a bingo game. It's more like kind of a party bingo game. We got some snacks, and we're going to do a photo booth if the teacher of the school allows us. Officer Rashears found some of our police department, some retro things like a jacket and an old uniform and an old
What are you looking at me
radar
for?
gun. So
Sarge,
they
yeah.
can, and an old police hat, so they can take pictures with that if they want.
Sarge, may I add on real quick?
Yeah.
So the impact strategy, that's going to be their final project. It's going to be a chance for them to create their own scenarios, situations where like a friend can be trying to get them to shoplift at Walmart. And they're going to use their impact strategies, and they're going to show them, no, that's not right. They're going to use their words and their SWOT problem solving model. But we're going to watch these videos, and we get to watch them do their impact strategies as a group. And some of the schools are wanting to kind of like vote on which ones might be the best, or just pick out some of the best ones. But it sounds like it's going to be a fun time. So.
I know
Any
you
other
haven't.
questions about that?
Yes, I know you haven't gone through an entire impact class at this point, but so far, how is the acceptance from the kids, the excitement from the kids compared to what they've gone through in the past? It sounds like this is probably more engaging from their standpoint. Is that kind of what you're seeing?
Yes, I'm impact certified as well. I haven't taught a class, but I go out with Officer Rashears and Officer Myers, and I go out and I help teach. And the kids, like I said, they go wild when they see these guys. I mean, oh my gosh, he's here. Oh my gosh, he's here. And I had a teacher tell me about Officer Rashears. It was, I think after his first week or second, a teacher said, they've been asking me every day, when is he going to come back? And then I had a principal at, I think, William Yates, say they loved it, they're loving Officer Myers, and that they're loving the program, and it's great.
So since these kids are 5th graders, they don't know DARE.
Right.
So this is their new program. And
Yeah,
so
it's-
to them, this is totally new. This is
Exactly.
normal. But some of the teachers that have gone through DARE, so far I've got a lot of feedback from them because I'm curious. I want to know. I value their opinions. They're educators. That's what they do for a living. So any opinions they could give me to help me, I'm writing them down.
Right.
But they're loving it. They're liking the engagement. They like how the kids get interactive with it. So it's been positive on my side.
Very good.
Yes, and to answer your question, I went and watched their last semester, and the kids didn't seem very excited about it. And what would happen is they'd get their workbook out, and I'd watch the kids, and then they'd start doodling and not paying attention. This keeps them engaged.
Gotcha. Good to hear.
So, yes.
Are there any statistics or is there any data being collected on impact that could be compared to DARE in the future or just tracked for effect or effectiveness?
Well, Lee Summit is tracking. They're tracking it somehow. I'm not for sure because I asked them. They have a 7th grade program as well, and so I asked them when they taught the 7th grade program the first time last year. And so I was wondering, when will those kiddos get into 9th grade, into freshman year? And I want to know from the school resource officers at the schools, have they seen a decrease? So that's just something we've talked about. And I don't know, we haven't really kept any for sure numbers or anything like that. So yeah, go ahead.
As someone that went through the DARE program, from what I'm hearing, this sounds really great and very helpful. I do remember getting my workbook out and doing that. I actually spoke at our DARE graduation, so I kind of remember the whole process. So I'm really liking what I'm hearing with this impact program for sure. It sounds a lot more interactive than what I went through myself.
Yeah. And so the impact statements at the end, I should say, it gives the kids to be creative. So they can do a poster or they can do a video. A kid in Lee Summit, his dad was a rapper and he did a rap song, and actually it's featured in our lesson plan. So they really it allows them to get creative rather than just, okay, you have to do an essay or a poster. It allows them to get more creative. So, any other questions about that? Okay, moving on. So another program that's under the youth division is Girls on Fire. The instructors are myself, Detective Carol Denmark, Curie Welch, Officer Amanda Bates, Officer Ashley Patrick, Detective Kobe Jacobson. Our volunteers and supporters is Councilwoman Susan Culpepper. She comes out every Girls on Fire and volunteers. And Cindy Cotterman, she's a retired Kansas City Police captain, and she's also one of our chaplains, and she belongs to the church where we hold Girls on Fire. So she last summer was her first year helping us out, and it was actually a great help having her there because she could tell us if we need something at the church, she can go get it. And so it is for girls going into the 6th grade and older, and it's typically for Blue Springs residents, and it's free. We hold 2 one-week sessions in the summer at the Blue Springs Assembly Church. And the mission statement for Girls on Fire is Girls on Fire community honors girls and empowers them to reach their fullest potential. Some of the topics we discuss is internet safety, self-worth, mental health, health and wellness, self-defense, first aid and CPR, and human trafficking. Those are just a few of the things we discuss. Any questions about Girls on Fire? And it's been around, when did it start? When did Terry start? 2011? So retired Officer Terry Claude developed the program, and it started in 2011, and since then it's grown. Next is the RAD Women's Self-Defense class. The instructors are myself, Officer Ashley Patrick, Officer Sterling Belknap, Sergeant Josh Haggard, and Detective Preston Rivers. It's for females 12 years and older. It's open to anybody, not just Blue Springs residents, and it's free. It's a 12-hour course. I usually break it up into 4 days, 3-hour sessions. So three-hour sessions over the period of 4 days. We teach them about being aware of their surroundings and not becoming an easy target. We teach them how to defend themselves with different moves, including strikes, knees, kicks, and ground defense. The last portion is scenarios. The guys dress up in heavily padded suits, and we put the ladies through 3 scenarios, and they get to defend themselves against the guys. And the scenario portion is what makes this class. The women leave empowered and confident that they can defend themselves. So,
I don't have a question, but as somebody who went through that class, I appreciate it. And I really highly recommend it to any and all girls and women out there. It's a really great class, and you do a great job with it. So thank you.
thank you. Thank you. Any questions about any of the Girls on Fire or RAD?
How are you guys promoting RAD so that more people like myself, because I didn't know about it until just now. I wish I would have known about it sooner. But how are you guys promoting that to the public?
So when I have a class, I have it posted on Facebook and the city website. Now, because of our instructors, our schedules don't line up very often. So I'm averaging about 1 to 2 classes a year right now. And our plan is to bring on more instructors so they don't have to depend on my schedule only to have a class. So that's the plan. So if that happens and we can get more people certified, the plan is to have more classes. But keep an eye on the Facebook page and the city website. Okay. And also, you guys have the email through the department? Because I I didn't know if they had okay, gotcha. All right, but I can always.
So I've been instructed that Facebook is for old people. She's told me that Instagram is the way to go. She's offered to help with Instagram and Wildcat TV. So we may have an opportunity for you guys to network in the future.
Okay. I don't even have a Facebook page, so.
That is not how I worded it.
Okay.
I I just said most youth
Yeah.
do not participate in Facebook. Me being one of those youth.
All right. Okay, so I'm gonna pass it on to Chief Russell.
Hi, my name is Mike Russell. I'm the Chief of Police for the Department of Public Safety for Blue Springs School District. Just to kind of give you a little history about the department, it started back in 2006, where there were only a few officers. They got their authority by getting a Jackson County commission. It wasn't long before it grew to 4, and then 6, 8. And then when I went over there in 2020, we were at 13. And I can tell you that whenever things come up regarding safety at the school district, you know, the support from the school board, the support from Dr. Jerome, our superintendent, has always been fantastic. And when they ask what could we do to make our schools safer, one of the struggles that we have with 13 is understand the size of the district is 22 school buildings. That's we have 15,000 students, 2,000 employees. And so trying to make 13 officers stretch across those, there were a lot of shared duties. And my message to them was having an officer at every school, having a patrol car out in front, have it marked so that when someone walks or when someone comes by, if they want to do us harm, they're put on notice that there's someone there that's going to basically confront them. And that's the best way to keep the school safe, along with many other things. And so I don't have a clicker guy.
Oh, I bet somebody will help you, Chief Russell.
So when we get into the authority, because it gets kind of tricky, just the position itself as an SRO it's really unique in the fact that it takes a special kind of person to go in there, be in a position of authority, but still have that approachability, and it's not for every officer. I know that I spent 10 years as the SRO at Blue Springs High School, Bill Wildcats, and it was literally the best time of my career. Had a great time. It developed me into who I am today. So when we look to bring on officers, it takes a lot of probing to make sure that we're getting the right one. Because there is some limits to our authority, okay? When the department first started, they relied on the Jackson County Commission, and then the state of Missouri passed a House bill that enabled school boards to commission their own law enforcement officers. In essence, school districts can create their own police departments. And the Blue Springs School District was the first one in the state. If you look at the state statute and you look at the historical version, the original version, it is ridiculous how it was worded. It was like, you must be a school district in the metropolitan boundaries of Jackson County, Kansas City, at the west side of the state. It almost said that your school district has to rhyme with Blue Rings. It was so specific to Blue Springs. Wisely, it got amended, and that's where we're going to talk about some of those limits to authority. And so the school district, the Blue Springs School District, the boundaries cross into Independence, Lee Summit, unincorporated Jackson County, and of course Blue Springs. And so wherever our boundary is, in order for me and my officers to have authority, I have to enter into a memo of understanding with the jurisdiction. I'll use Blue Springs as an example, where we have an understanding of what my limits to authority are, so that there's a clear line. And so same thing with Independence and Lee Summit, Jackson County. It's really nice to have it so spelled out into law, because we know what we handle, they know what they handle, and we work together. We work together on a lot of things, and I'll go over that here in just a little bit. We enforce laws on school district property. That does extend to the school bus. It does extend to bus stops and any school-sanctioned event that occurs in a city within our jurisdiction where we have an MOU. And so if it's at a Lee Summit football game, we would have authority there, not that we would go there and work because Lee Summit has their own thing going on, but the school-sanctioned events, that comes into play. We don't investigate felonies, and I can tell you the reason behind that is I don't have the manpower or the resources to have an investigations unit, and the SROs are just too busy to where they could devote their attention to what it takes to investigate felonies. Cases that involve the threat or the use of a deadly or dangerous weapon or sex crimes, those have to remain in the jurisdiction in which they occurred. And then we don't have statewide jurisdiction. So when I go to hire somebody, I can tell you that was a big surprise to me, was that last bullet. And the fact that my entire career, I was a peace officer in the state of Missouri, commissioned by a municipality, but if I was anywhere in the state and a felony occurred, I could act on that if I chose to act on that. I don't get to do that anymore. We do not have statewide jurisdiction. So the officers, when they come on board, they really need to understand that. And one of the things that we talk about is, am I just supposed to drive by something happening? And I'm like, you do. And well, that looks bad because, our decals are on the cars. I understand that, but when you don't have the authority, if you act like you have the authority, that's where we're going to have a problem. So, thank you. Let's see. So, again, with the school board, we serve at the pleasure of the school board. When it was back in 2021, they asked me, how can we make schools more safe? And that's when I said, officer in every school. How many is that going to take? I said, that'll take 9. And so when you talk about adding a single position, you're going to have the salary, you're going to have the benefits. But one thing that I have to worry about that maybe Bob doesn't have to worry about as much is he can share some of his equipment because there's shifts. Okay, I don't have shifts. I got one shift. And so, I have 25 patrol cars. How many patrol cars do you have on the road?
Not one for every officer, I can tell you that.
Right. And so, I have a lot of equipment. It's really individually for the officers, so it takes quite a bit to add those. So we added the 9, which got us to an officer in every school. And then the very next year, I needed my supervisors to not be in schools because my supervisors were too busy working in schools and not supervising. So they gave me 2 more so I could have my supervisors so they could supervise. That was awesome. And so, yeah, then there's me. Let's see, we got that. I can tell you that we stay fully staffed. I've been to command college. I go to a lot of meetings, and I can tell you that every single time I'm the only guy in the room that doesn't have a problem staying full. Just because the school district, again, with their support, they give you pay for years of service all the way to top out. And so a lot of times departments have maybe 5 years, 7 years, but we'll go all the way to 20. And so it's pretty attractive to someone who is 48 years old, just retired from Kansas City, can hold their pension in Kansas City and work for the school district. So love the fact that I don't have to hunt for officers all the time. And I talked about finding the best fit. Anything after that? Okay. All right, so when we talk about the officers in the school, you have, of course, the visibility, but part of their daily duties is doing the perimeter check. One of the things that we discovered 2 years ago, has been 2 years since the milk carton incident at the Freshman Center, I think.
Oh, yeah, I don't
All
remember.
right, so one of the things, it was a blessing and a curse. We had an incident at the Freshman Center where we believe there was something going on in school, full-blown deployment response, and our school was too secure on the perimeter, where the officers couldn't get in to help. And so that's a compliment to keeping our perimeter solid, but it also introduced where, we work together to overcome where, every Blue Springs police car, Lee Summit police car, Independence police car, Highway Patrol in Jackson County has a little fob to where they can get into any door at any school at any time. And so just kind of working together on that. So the officers, they do intruder training annually with all staff. And, that's going over what happens when they give them different scenarios. We go over what's called the standard response protocol. It's our action response to anything that happens. It's where you go into either a lockdown, a hold, a shelter, evacuate, things like that. We brought on just recently, this is our first year of the full deployment of the Raptor Alert system. Raptor Alert for us is it's a mass notification system. There's a desktop or a web client, and there's a mobile app to where anyone can initiate an emergency. And then it gets broadcast, and that's how we respond to those emergencies. The state has mandated drills. There's 10 drills a year that you have to do. So many lockdown drills, so many fire drills, so on and so forth. And so getting to utilize the Raptor app for each one of those drills brings that fluency to it. And so we're really liking how those work together. We have, in 2018, there was a school bond, a bond that passed where we retroactively put protective film on key areas of the school. I can tell you that I have a 12-minute video of someone using a cinder block over the weekend at Blue Springs High School trying to get through one of those windows. It was hilarious to watch how long it took him to get through the film. And we also, in all new construction projects, we use what's called school guard glass. So instead of a retrofitted film, it's a laminated film that is in between the glass, kind of like a windshield. But it's designed to withstand at least 17 minutes of abuse in order to gain entry. That's time. I mean, the average response time for schools that don't have an officer in the building is like 4 minutes. With an officer in, it's like 2 or less. And so anytime that you can, create time for a good response, it helps. We had also in 2018, there was the layered entry points to where you had to get through one door into a foyer, and you have to get to another door to get into the office, and then there's still another door that's access controlled before you can get into an area where students may be. And so that was huge because that involved quite a bit of construction. Access control, wand doors. Blue Springs High School, the new freshman wing has those. Blue Springs South has a couple as well. We're incorporating those in new projects as well, where these accordion style doors are recessed into a wall. And then if a panic button is pushed, say there's an intruder, that door swings all the way across the hallway and basically closes off that hallway. It's another barrier. And it's just so that they go past that hallway. And so we're working on getting those in there. 1,490 cameras in the school district. That's a lot. it really helps with, capturing when things go wrong and stuff like that, monitoring. Anything after that? All right. So just kind of backtrack to the diversion program that the Blue Springs Police Department offers. My officers, when they have to make a law enforcement action in school, it has to be those minor level crimes. And we have the Eastern Jackson County Youth Court, who's actually housed out of my building at the Paul Consiglio building. And it's a diversionary program as well. And so really don't want all the extra presence and availability to impact any kind of school to prison pipeline perception that might be out there. Because, when they do successfully complete these diversion programs, I mean, once it's successfully completed, understand that they've never been fingerprinted, they're not in the system, and they can stay out of the system. It's fantastic. Because, second chances are really cool. To your point about collecting data, the one thing I'd like to throw out there is if they do start collecting data, they really need to consider variables like advances in technology. Because I can tell you that a year and a half ago, you were far less likely to get caught in school vaping. Well, we have vape detectors now. There's 67 of them. And I can tell you that they are in use. And they pick it up. And so the kids a couple of years ago wouldn't have to worry about that. But I can tell you there's a lot of kids that worry about it now. And so advancement in AI, especially when it comes to cameras, when they talk about, there's a ton of technology that's coming out that detects the presence of a exposed firearm and different things. The AI stuff is really progressing. And so as technology advances, it's going to make us safe, but it's also going to create more enforcement actions. I can tell you that some of the things that derive from hits on the vape detectors were the searches that came afterwards, where weapons were found, contraband was found, and different things which wouldn't have normally been found that were not safe in school were found just because the vape detectors were there. So it's pretty cool. As far as the impact program goes, kudos to Lee Summit for having the bravery to create their own program. They did a ton of work with the Lee Summit School District. Each school district has instructional coaches. And I can tell you that they worked with their instructional coaches to come up with a fantastic curriculum. And so whenever Blue Springs was going in that direction, we got the already finished product, and then our instructional coaches, they went through the program, and it was pretty good working with each other to see what was coming, because Darren had been established for a really long time. I can tell you that the impact thing is so much more updated and engaging, and I can't wait to see, the one of the things I always loved about being a dare officer was 20 years later, it's like, hey, have you seen Charlie Waits? He was my dare officer. And it's like, dude, Charlie Waits has been retired for, 10? At least?
Longer.
Yeah. Charlie, but I still have people talk to me about Charlie as a dare officer. So I really hope that in 20 years, I won't be working. I'm tired. But I'm hoping that there are still kids that ask about Officer Brashears and Officer Myers and Officer Benson, just because that connection persists over time. So I can't wait for that to happen. Let's see. We work together with the Blue Springs Police Department fantastically. We train together. They just do our dispatch service. Our radios are on their frequency. They're on our frequency. I can tell you that if something goes down, it is just amazing the response that we get. And we just work so well together. It's a pleasure being in that partnership with them. So what questions do you have for me?
Mike, what do you typically rely on prior service or officers that have prior experience, or do you put somebody through an academy?
Oh, so that is something that I cannot do as far as any kind of new person. Because my obstacle there that I cannot overcome is I can't provide them with a meaningful FTO program. Okay? I can't go on calls in Blue Springs to watch them develop their conflict mediation skills, hone their de-escalation skills and things like that. I can't do that. So yes, mandatory. For me, it's at least 3. I can tell you that before you get past my interview process, you will have needed to be a student of the law. And so I really focus on knowledge. Experience as an SRO is a plus, but absolutely not necessary. I've got several right now who are just crushing it at being an SRO, and they were never an SRO. I had a guy that was a 17-year homicide detective in Kansas City, and he is just doing fantastic at John Allen, just because he's just got that personality. Happiest he's been in a long time. It's just super great. I had a guy come in from California. The distance interviews, it was kind of rough because I didn't know what I was going to get. And so I had one miss, but man, I've got a hit right now where a guy, he just got so much energy. He's at Boy Spears Elementary. He dresses up as Andy Reid with Chiefs hat and headphones. He's got a play sheet, and that's how he reads to the kids. He reads to the students, dresses up as Santa Claus. Everybody just loves him. But yeah, I've got several who haven't been in that area, but thrive in it. Yeah.
Thanks.
Not a question, but going back to your compliments of the impact instructors and knowing them, recognizing them 20 years later, I think your SROs are there as well. I'd like to group them into that. Just going to sporting events where your SROs are in large groups, like a football game, and seeing the number of kids that saw them in middle school or they're elementary school, now they're in high school, and they recognize and they come running up, give them hugs, and stand there and talk to them. It's great to see that community involvement.
So I was the SRO at Blue Springs High School from 2000 to 2010. So I've been out of it for a while. And I can tell you that if I fill in somewhere or I'm doing traffic, I gotta be careful because a car will screech to a halt. And Officer Russell! And they'll want to get out and give me a hug. And it's like, your car's gotta go.
Right.
And so it's just so fantastic. I had, one of the things I didn't mention is we have started a new program for volunteer application background screenings. We use a local company in Blue Springs Data Source where we do a more comprehensive background screening to ensure that whoever's coming in to volunteer at the schools they should be inside that school. And so one of the things that they get an approval letter, and at the bottom of the approval letter, it's auto-generated. I don't type these letters. It says, Chief Mike Russell with the Department of Public Safety. And so I had one of my former students send me an email and said, I don't know if you remember me, blah, blah, blah. And so I absolutely remembered her. And she was like, hey, I was going through my old phone contacts, and look what I found. And she sent me a picture that she had of me and her in my old office at the high school when she was a kid. And so, yeah, it's the connections,
Right.
they last for a really long time, if you're doing it right.
Exactly.
Kids get it. The kids see it. Staff sees it. Yeah, it's pretty special.
Chief Russell, before we go to any other questions, you guys started a new outreach program. Would you talk about that? Is it junior officer?
So we do have, so we have different things. We are 12-month employees, so we don't get the summers off. And I really wish I had summers off. So anyhow, we do, we've got the whole school year. Then we have to coach summer school. And then after summer school, we have the Junior Police Academy. We help out with Girls on Fire, help out with fly sports. And then in our Junior Police Academy, all right, so I was the SBU detective sergeant here. And so I was a certified crime scene technician. And so one of the things, my part in the Junior Police Academy is teaching them crime scene investigations, where they're not certified by the time they're done, but they at least get to put a fingerprint on the object, dust it for prints, pull it, put it on a card, and it gives them, a little bit of experience. Drone unit comes out, the NCMEC comes out, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. They come out and give a presentation. They go to the courthouse. They get a prosecutor that comes in and talks to them. They got to go to the crime lab this year. CJC came out and got all the kids CPR certified. So they walk away with that, which is huge. Underwater Rescue came out. It was pretty cool because we got this awesome new poolplex at Blue Springs High School. And they came out and the kids got to don SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatuses, and they got to put a coupler together in ice water. And boy, it was rough on them. Trying to manipulate, putting the hose together in a cold environment. So it was pretty fun to watch that one. And then they got to go to Jeff City, where the Attorney General talked to them. They got to go to a penitentiary, not go in, but visit and see some stuff. But yeah, the Junior Police Academy is pretty cool. We get a good showing. We like to cap it off at about 45, just because it can get overwhelming, and we want to make sure that we're getting to give the attention it needs for all the kids that are there. So Junior Police Academy is pretty cool. It's a week long. We like to have it just after summer school, but we have to plan in advance, and then of course the summer school dates don't get set until of course after we figure out if there's any snow days. And so I think this last one, they overlapped, and so that affected a few things. But yeah.
How is that promoted, or how is that schedule put out? Is it through the school's websites? Or?
So the SROs are in tune with counselors, teachers, flyers, and they just get that word out.
Gotcha.
And the engagement's awesome. We don't. So far, I've been to 2 of them, and so far everyone's there for a genuine purpose. It's not a parents stuck them in a summer camp kind of thing for a week. They're there for a genuine purpose. So, yeah.
I've asked enough. I'm done.
I do thank you for the opportunity to brag about what we do, because I love our job.
Thank you, Chief Russell. Ryan, do we have any questions from Facebook?
We do not,
Okay, good,
unfortunately.
because it's getting late. I'm getting tired. Do we have any questions from the audience? Anybody out there want to ask anything? I do know that you could probably get more information from Chief Russell on that Junior Officer Academy. You can find information on the city's website about our Girls on Fire, Life Sports for Boys, RAD, and some of our other outreach programs. I want to thank everybody for coming tonight, and I think that'll wrap up the forum, but I'll turn it over to you for any final questions or adjournment.
Okay, thank you. Anything from the board? No? All right. Thank you, Chief Munns. Thank you, Chief Russell and Captain Rapp and your team for your presentation. We appreciate you helping us with our forum and really doing all of the hard work while we get to sit up here and reap the benefits. So thank you for that. We appreciate the information. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
A motion?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? All right. Thank you all and have a great night.
Thank you.
It's all good information.